So, yeah, I apologize for the clickbaity title, but I've been thinking about this. What if Steam shut down its servers for good? Well, Valve have stated that they would find some way to give everyone access to their games, presumably via some kind of offline mode, but since Steam is making Valve that cash money, I don't see the service shutting down for a while. Case closed, right? Yeah, well, that's boring, and I need to make this video over 30 seconds long, so let's say that Valve inexplicably disappeared with no contingency for existing Steam users. So, no more Steam games for you. Now, a common idea I've heard with varying degrees of seriousness is that Origin would take center stage, but I disagree with that. Just because Steam is gone, that doesn't mean all of EA's competition is gone. Origin also competes with Desura, GOG, Congregate, GameJolt, The Humble Bundle, Netflix, Random House Publishing, Google, Apple, Hasbro, Good Morning America, DeviantArt, Fanfiction.net, Wattpad, and every other entertainment company out there. Not to mention torrents and emulators. Basically, people will just find something else to fuel their reasons for playing games, but that's boring too, and I need to make this video over, what is it, a minute now? So let's figure out what would happen in a world where people really have to default to Origin. Keep in mind that for this to happen, there's no Congregate, no Desura, no Steam, no Netflix, no fiction books. All other entertainment providers have mysteriously stopped providing their products, and no one is clever enough to start a new Steam. The only entertainment people can get is from either going outside or PCs that somehow run Origin in its games as an OS. Time to take a page out of XKCD's book. Literally, he took a simple scenario and explored the far-reaching ramifications of it in his What If book, and decide on the far-reaching of ramifications of such a world. And to take away the obvious answer, let's just say that the DRM is uncrackable. Well, one thing's for sure. People would play EA games. However, even if Origin, thanks to its new surge of customers, got a few upgrades, Origin is still Origin. And since one of the parameters we define in this world is that nobody makes a new Steam, Origin is still stuck with EA-only games. And people would get bored of EA-only games. Gamers at large would slowly diverge into two groups. The mostly casual gamers would simply find simpler forms of entertainment and probably become Amish or something like that. But a more hardcore and devoted set of people would likely take up LARPing, making groups to recreate their favorite virtual worlds. Seeing potential business and desperate for cash, former game companies denied access to the new Origin master race would become devoted to making high-quality official cosplay gear and lore manuals. This former hobby would slowly overtake those in it as they all, desperate for an escape, regress into their personas, eventually becoming them in a mixture of insanity and adaptation. Groups would become faux city-states, claiming the members' former property and merging into one large crossover universe with the likes of Turians and Khajiit living side by side. More people get into the movement, and after a bit of controversy, they are left alone. Some extremists are caught on both sides of the fence, either trying to convert people to or from the massive LARP-turned-LARP style. But overall, outsiders brand them as crazies and leave them be. Fast forward a decade or 10, the movement has changed countless lives and the new groups are accepted as simply a subset of society, if not rather extreme. Then genetic splicing becomes a viable procedure. People flock to the new genetic clinics in the thousands, possibly millions, become exactly like their personas. As radically changing genetic coding methods are found, people become more and more like their personas. Eventually no special costumes are needed. The Turians, Asari, Khajiit, and Elves of the world have become a biologically different species entirely. Controversy envelops the groups, but due to the closed nature of them, no one really cares. The group becomes an even more multi-species society. More people flock to the group every day in search of a better life. Eventually the entirety of humanity, if you can even call it that anymore due to the species fracturing, becomes part of the fantasy world, and the LARP is never over. So basically the world becomes a giant immersive eternal LARP. That is either awesome or horrifying depending on your viewpoint. And that's called allegorical escapism combined with dark and escalatory humor. Take notes, everybody. Well, that was fun to write. Just a quick little video I decided to make. As always, thanks for watching. I mean it.